Hey, welcome back to the Coin Box. This is my sixth and final top 10 in my collection video of 2024, and since I'm focusing exclusively on Mexican numismatics, I've expanded the number of categories to include my top 10 libertads. Libertads were not only the first world silver bullion coin on the market when they were first minted in 1982, but 40 years on, they continue to be highly sought after and collected. Now, this list may surprise you because it's not meant to be a top 10 of all time, but simply the libertads that I find to be most interesting that are currently in my collection. So before we get started, please take a second to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell icon to be notified of future uploads. All right, here we go. All right, well, let's get started, and I'll let you in on a little secret. I'm wearing a different shirt than the intro because that intro was filmed January or February, and it was pretty cold. I was pretty cold while I was filming that. Now it is over 100 degrees outside, and I have to turn off the air conditioning to film this, so it is extremely hot in here. So I decided to wear a cooler shirt, and if you see me sweating in the video a little bit, that's why. But let's get started here, and at number 10, I have this 1 ounce 2022 Libertad reverse proof Libertad, and this is now, I believe, the only reverse proof I own. I have had 2 ounce and 5 ounces, and I have since sold those. But the reverse proof finish is a very special finish. It's very pretty. I really enjoy the way it looks. And I like it best on the 1 ounce. The 2 ounce also looks really, really nice. I really enjoyed the way it looked on the 2 ounce. Better than the 5 ounce. But the 1 ounce is just, it's the one to get since it is the same size and you know, as the 1 ounce series, most people collect the 1 ounce above the 2 and the 5. There are only 1,000 of these minted, so they are very rare, pretty, I won't say rare, but in high demand because there are so few minted. It's not necessarily rare because they are available. There's a pretty hefty premium to them, but it's a very special finish. I really enjoy it. I only have one of them. I haven't bought I won't really continue to buy. It's not my priority to buy the 2023, 2024, and so on. I just wanted one of them in my collection, and this is the first one I got, and this is the one I stuck with, and that's why I have it here at number 10. At number 9, I have this Proof 1989 Libertad in OGP. So it's got this sleeve. It's got this cool, high-quality black clamshell case. And then once again, it says Onza Libertad Proof, and it has the year 1989. It comes with a COA in both English and Spanish from the Bank of Mexico. And, you know, something that's interesting about Proof Libertads, I'm not sure about this, but I think I've noticed it, especially with the 1986 Proof Libertads, that the case has an angle to it. And I think I'm not sure if it applies here, but I think they were originally assembled for the eagle side to be up, since this is the obverse. So don't quote me on this. Well, you can quote me on it, but I'm not sure about this, but I would guess that this is how they were assembled and shipped, simply because this is the obverse, and it seems like most of them fit better like that. Of course, you can flip the coin around within the case, but for those sets that have not been tampered with and the coin is original, they fit better. Actually, this one does have an angle. So yeah, this one fits better like this than it does like this, although you always see them listed for sale and kept, and I keep mine like this as well. So anyway, that's neither here nor there, and that applies mostly to the 1986s that have a very narrow slot, maybe 90s, 91 as well. Anyway, at number 9, I have this 1989 proof with a dot, which is the scarcer of the two varieties. So 1989 proof Libertads there's a version with the dot before the 999, which is scarcer than the one without the dot before the 999. So they minted both for whatever reason. This one is the scarcer of the two. I was lucky enough to find this one. I like these older style proof Libertads. I don't really have newer style proof Libertads. If you enjoy those, that's great. It's just not something I'm after, not something I collect. But these older ones I do, and I have, I think now every year, of the older style proof Libertads. There are some varieties I'm missing. Some of them are very difficult to come by, but I was happy to find this one with the dot in great condition. It's very pretty. It's got some just slight toning to it. Lettered edge, which is pretty special. I enjoy lettered edge on older Libertads. And because of the variety, I have the other one as well. I have the without the dot version, but this one with the dot is the scarcer of the two, and so I was happy to be able to find that one. And that's why I have it here at number 9 on this list. At number 8, I have this 2007 Libertad, which is a key date in the series with only 200,000 1-ounce silver Libertads minted in 2007. It might look normal other than that, but this one is special because it does have a very odd and interesting looking pattern to it. And I don't know if either NGC or PCGS or any other grading company at this point has given it any kind of recognized it in any way. I have heard or read at some point, most people thinking, I guess, it's some form of struck through, so maybe struck through cloth or something like that. That would be my guess as well. That's what it looks like to me. And it's only on the reverse. If we turn it over and look at the obverse, there's not much going on this side, at least not that I can tell. But on the reverse, on the angel side, especially on the images, so on video it might be hard to pick up, but if we look at these images here, this is my coin, and you can definitely see a very, very obvious pattern going on, and it's all over the coin. So it's not only on the fields. You can see it very clearly on the fields, but you can also see it across the angel. You can see it on the mountains. You can see it on the background. You can see it everywhere across the coin. In some places it's more obvious than others, but it definitely looks like the coin was struck through something. I don't know what other explanation there could be, but there's a definite pattern to this coin. So there's a difference between the normal 2007 Libertad, which is still a key date and still a tough coin in the series. But this one, I was happy to find this one because I had read about this. I don't know if you can call it a variety or error or what category it would fall under. But I had read about it and seen images about it before. So when I saw one come up for sale, it was an auction and I was lucky enough to win it. And it's hard sometimes to see in online, you just see images. It's tough to see or to make sure that you know what you're looking at, especially with something so fine, so detailed as a pattern like this. But I could tell from the images, they were good images. I could tell that I was pretty sure that's what it was. And when I got it in hand, sure enough, this is the 2007 struck through, we can call it. For some reason, it's got this very interesting pattern going on. And I have other 2007s, and they aren't all like this. So this is special, and that's why I have it here. This is a recent purchase of mine, relatively recently, within the past month or so. And that's why I have it here at number 8 on this list. At number 7 on this list, I have a 1998 Libertad, and I know it's a key date. I know it's the key date of the series. At least that's what most people think and believe. I am of the opinion that the 1991 Type 2 is even scarcer than this one, but I can't prove that. So for all practical purposes, this is the key date of the series, 1998. I have another 1998, but this one is special, and the reason I have it on this list is because if we flip it over and we look at the obverse, we can see that this is the crowned eagle. I think both PCGS and NGC have graded these, and some of them, sometimes they call it an error. I think now they're starting to call it a variety. Some of them call it a die chip on eagle's head. Of course, there are other die chips along the cactus as well, but that's what it's known for. That die chip on the eagle's head, that's what makes this one a little more special, even more special than the normal 1998. And this one's not perfect by any means. It's got not only some toning, but some milkiness to it. But this is actually my newest purchase on this list. I just got this in, I think, day before yesterday, something like that, very recently. So I didn't even have my other 1998 on this list. And the only reason really I'm putting this one on this list is because it's a variety. I enjoy varieties. It gives an element of scarcity and uniqueness, and it's something special to hunt for and look for. And so I was really intrigued and interested by and wanting to get a crowned eagle 1998 Libertad. So I was able to get this one recently. I was able to pick it up and add it to a collection. I added it to this list just before filming this And so this one snuck onto this list. It's not quite at the top, but it's at a good spot here at number 7 on this list. At number 6, I have the 1991 Type 2 Libertad, which in my opinion is the true key date of the series. And when I made my, I made a pair of videos on this coin, this 1991 Type 2. I did a Type 1 versus Type 2, and then I did another one talking about how some people call this a mule when it's not really a mule. But the point is, when I made those videos, this coin was selling for around $100. You could get it on average for about $100, maybe $110. In fact, around that time, I was offered a 1991 Type 2 in a Littleton holder, and it was offered to me for $130, and I thought, you know what, no, that's too much, that's too expensive, and I didn't get it, because you could get them for about $100, sometimes less. And in fact, I have shared on the channel that I got this 91 Type 2 MS66, which in my opinion is undergraded. I mean, you can just see in the video how it's a really beautiful coin. It's got just a couple very small kind of scuff marks right there. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a beautiful coin. Beautiful, both obverse and reverse, and it's only a 66. Again, grading is very subjective, and I don't have, at this point in time, I don't have a very high opinion of in general of grading companies, but we won't get off topic here. But my point is, I bought this one for I think $120, which, granted, was a steal deal even when these weren't worth what they are now. But now these are going for crazy money. I think they're selling for $500, $600. Some of it may have been from those videos. I don't know. I did mention in those videos how the mintage on them was most likely to be closer to 50,000, and that wasn't very well known among collectors for a long time. I think that's why the price was relatively low on these. Most people would just get, there's only one slot in an album, and you just get the other 91, which is relatively common. But since there aren't specific mintages on the 1 ounce, no one really knows how many were minted. Hopefully one day we'll know for sure. But the mintages on the fractionals here are about 50,000 on each of the fractionals. So we can deduce logically that, if these were only minted for this set, there was a change in 1991 from the Type 1 to the Type 2. It's not a mule. It's a Type 2. It was an intentional design change. You can watch my video on that. I can explain in that video more on that, but we can deduce logically that there were about 50,000 of the 91 Type 2 minted, which is less than the 67,000 of the 1998 Libertad. So anyway, I'm lucky to have several of these in my collection. This set I actually put together myself. It was from a 1992 set. I bought the fractional separately. I got the 1 ounce separately. I put it all together, and I ended up spending way less putting it together than buying it complete like that. And of course, this one I've already talked about on the channel. It's a beautiful, beautiful coin. Both of these, I actually have another one as well. This one has some really pretty toning on it. So yeah, so even, a couple years ago, these were going for around $100. Now they're going for around $500, even $600. It depends, graded, they go for a lot more. If you have a graded high grade, they can go for a lot more. But, I feel in some way connected to this one, and even connected perhaps to its rise in popularity. When I put out those videos, they were going for $100. Most people did not even consider that the mintage on these was possibly lower than the 1998s. And I think when people started considering that, the price on these have really skyrocketed. So I was happy to pick these up back when they weren't so expensive, and that's why I have them here at number 6 on this list. At number 5 on this list, I have this 1988 DDR1 Libertad with a very pretty toning on both obverse and reverse. In fact, on the obverse, it's even more intact with very brilliant, bright, pretty colors. On the reverse, I believe it got the same bright, pretty colors, but then there's some form of contact. Some of it maybe got rubbed off, so it's not as saturated. but it's still very pleasant, pretty toning. And the variety, it being DDR1, I have had a very difficult time finding a 1988 DDR1s in the wild, probably because the variety is pretty obvious. So if someone comes across one, it's noticeable. It's not as hard to distinguish from other Libertad varieties. So maybe that's why it's harder to come by. But I was very happy to pick this one up. It's special because of the toning. It's special because of the variety. You can see how on the doubling is most noticeable on the date, 1988, and then Mexico, and then of course lay 0.999. So on the lay 0.999, you can really see the doubling very clearly. It's almost like the 1987 where it's got, a double dot there. So that is a key indicator of the DDR1 on the 1988 Libertad. And the obverse just has beautiful coloring all the way around. And so because of the variety, because of the 88 in itself is somewhat of a semi-key date, it's sought after. So it's the date, and then on top of that, it's got beautiful toning, and then on top of that, it's a somewhat scarce, difficult to come by variety, the double die one. So that's why I have it at number 5 on this list. At number 4 on this list, I have a 1989 Libertad, and this one is a very brilliant Libertad. I wish it was a DDR number 1, although NGC apparently has trouble attributing that variety anyway. See my NGC unboxing video for that. But so it wouldn't have made that much of a difference, but it is a very pretty 1989 Libertad. It's got some very, very pretty toning, down here on the reverse. But when we flip it over, that's where the magic is on this coin. It's got beautiful, beautiful toning. It's relatively common to find a fingerprint on toning on coins because toning will come off. If it's natural toning, it's on the surface of the coin. And so if someone puts a finger on it, it'll lift up that coloring, that toning, and you'll see a big old fingerprint on it. But this one is a very complete, it covers the entire surface of the obverse. It's very much a rainbow, very pretty colors. And the obverse, it's not completely toned, but it is a very, it has original luster. It's a very bright luster on the reverse. So both sides are very pretty. This one's not a variety, but it is a somewhat sought after date, 1989. And then of course the toning, it is hard to beat the toning, especially on the obverse. And when you just find a nearly perfectly toned Libertad, that's pretty special. So no variety here. It's not a super scarce key date, but the toning is it's hard to find Libertads that are this pretty. And that's why I have it at number 4 on this list. At number 3, I have the final toned Libertad on this list, but this one is just stunning. This is a 1991 Type 1, so it's not a very key, it's not a key date, but what's special on this one is definitely the toning. It is, I will say, the most beautiful toned Libertad I own. The obverse is, average, run-of-the-mill. It's got some toning, but nothing amazing. But the reverse on this Libertad, which is the face that we generally see, the side of the Libertad, which is generally featured, is most prominent. That's the side that has this stunning toning. And the previous two that I showed that had toning, actually the obverse on both of those looked better than the reverse. And in this case, the reverse looks better than the obverse. And so that's the point. But then just the color on this is just amazing. It's very difficult to capture the beauty of this Libertad on camera. I did my best with these photos and videos, but it's just stunning. It really is stunning. And just the rainbow, the way the angel itself is kind of in the light, and then the color just forms a circle expanding outward. It's and the tones are just so deep and such lovely colors. This is definitely rainbow toning at its finest, and it's just very pretty. It's the prettiest toned Libertad I own. And even if you don't like or don't care for personally toned libertads, I would think you have to admit this is somewhat of a stunner. And so just for the stunning color on this libertad, I have this one up here at number 3 on this list. At number 2 on this list is a 1988 proof libertad, once again in OGP. And you know me, I go snooping all over the place, and I don't know if this shows up very well. I'll maybe take a photo of this, because I'm not sure it's going to show up very well on camera. But basically on the inside of the sleeve, I noticed it said Banca Patrimonial Banamex, which is just interesting. You know, it's kind of cut off, but it's on the material used to make the sleeve. So I don't know, but it is kind of cool that it's there. Banamex apparently had something to do with the sleeve. And you know, that is kind of the curiosities that you miss if all you buy is graded coins. If all you get is graded, that's fine. But that's why I like getting things in OGP, because you find little details like that just are fascinating to me. But this one also comes in a hard clamshell case. Once again, you know, it has the year up there. This is the certificate, and it's almost number 10,000, which there were only 10,000 issued, but this is 9,992. So that's kind of cool. And then the way I bought this one was also pretty special. I thought, you know, I'm never going to be able to find a 1988 proof Libertad for a good price. They're just really crazy expensive. And I won't go into detail on that day, but it was a kind of a rough day, and I just happened to check online right when these were listed. I snagged one up for $150, which is crazy. That's crazy cheap. And then on top of that, it's in lovely condition, and I believe, I'm not sure about this, but I think it would probably qualify for the missing feathers underarm variety. And you see, attributes the 1988 proof with an missing feathers underarm variety. So that's kind of cool. I have not gotten this graded. Maybe someday I will, but just the fact that I was able to pick this up for such a good price, $150 for the 1988, is extremely cheap. I have seen these sell for graded close to $1,000. 69s. If you get a 70, and then if it's a 70 with the variety, we're talking a lot of money. So for now, it's in my collection. You know, something interesting about these also is that there is, I think there have only one been found so far, maybe two, with edge lettering. Most of them are a reeded edge. But what's kind of cool also, and I haven't heard anyone else mention this, but the characteristics on the COA here, let's see if I can get that. The characteristics on the COA here do say that they have edge lettering. Now, that could have just been a mistake. You know, there are so many different changes and variances between years on these early year Libertads. But it is interesting that the COA says that it's supposed to have edge lettering. And most of them do not have edge lettering. Most of them have reeded edge, a reeded edge, but there is at least one, maybe a couple now, with edge lettering. So that's kind of cool. And then I think there is, again, maybe it's that same one that just has the dot between lay 999. Most of them do not have the dot. So it's all these little details, those kind of things just I find extremely interesting, extremely fascinating. But just the fact to own one of these, I was able to pick up another one without, not an OGP, so just the proof Libertad. I don't have it here to show you, but this one's just in great condition, and then it's potentially the missing feathers underarm variety. And the fact that I got it for such a good deal, and the fact that it's coin almost 10,000 out of 10,000, at least the COA, that's what the COA says. All those things make it extremely special, and that's why I have it at number 2 on this list. All right, well, just very briefly before getting to the number 1 spot on this list, I wanted to show you a few honorable mentions here. And so we'll start with this 2018 antique finished Libertad. And for the longest time, these just kind of flew under the radar. Nobody really cared about them that much. It seemed like you could get them for about $50 each. And just recently, the price on these skyrocketed. I'm not sure exactly what it was. All of a sudden, the Libertad community, I guess the collector community, really took a harder look at the mintage on these, I guess. And the mintage is low, 40,000 on the 2018s. The 2019s have always been more expensive and in demand because the mintage, I think, on the 1 ounce is 1,000. But on the 2018, 40,000 sounded like a lot more than 1,000, so they weren't that much in demand. But the price on these skyrocketed recently to, I haven't checked, but I think about 150. I want to say 150, $200. And it's cooled in the last month or so. It's cooled. The prices have cooled on these, but they're still quite a bit more expensive than they used to be. This is an official presentation from the Bank of Mexico. You can kind of pull out these stands and display it if you want to. I do have a 2 ounce version, which I didn't pull out just now, but I thought that was kind of cool to show. This is a 1995 Littleton, a Libertad in a Littleton holder. This is the only one I have in this presentation, but these are always in demand. You pay a premium for these, and I just thought it was cool. Also wanted to have one. 1995, it's a good year with only 500,000 minted of those. And then we have a 2006 Libertad, only 300,000 minted of these. And this one has also lovely toning, some orange and blue, and the obverse as well has pretty toning. Then we have another Littleton presentation. This is in a plastic, just a sealed plastic pack, and this is a 2000 Libertad. I don't remember the mintage off the top of my head, but it's also relatively low, and it's the first year that the obverse changed here. Not the first year, but the obverse changed from 1999 to 2000. In fact, the 1999 Mule has this obverse. But the coloring on this, the toning, it's a purple toning. It's very, very pretty. That's mostly why I picked it up. So I have that one there. And then finally, this 1998 Libertad, again, with the deep orange toning. It's not rainbow toning in the sense, like the other ones I showed you. It's more of an even, not quite monotone. There is close to the edge. I don't know how well it shows, picks up there in the video, but you can see there's blues and purples around the edge. So, but it's still got great luster, and it's a very pretty toned 1988 Libertad. So, just wanted to show you those briefly before getting to the number 1 spot on this list. And finally, at number 1 on my top 10 Libertads list, I have 2 proof-like Libertads. So I have a 1990 and 1991. Here's the 1990. And you can see it really does look like a proof coin. In fact, sometimes they are sold as proof coins when they are indeed just not proof. They are BU coins with perhaps a very polished die, or perhaps some of the first coins struck with the die. And so the fields are very dark. There's a high contrast between the fields and the design itself. They are highly reflective, as you can see somewhat there. Again, it's hard to convey how reflective they are on camera. But these, I really enjoy these. And probably now that I'm showing them on the video, a lot more people will be aware of these. But a lot of times these just kind of fly under the radar. And a lot of times they are confused for proof coins. They are not proof coins. They are proof-like coins, and they do get that designation from both, I believe, both PCGS and NGC. Although I have heard, I don't know how true it is, I have heard that NGC has become a lot more strict on what they will designate or attribute as a PL, or proof-like coin. So I haven't sent these in to get graded, but if these aren't proof-like, I don't know what is. I have some, to varying degrees that are proof-like, or some where the reverse is more proof-like than the obverse. But both of these are just very stunning, beautiful coins. I have more. I have others. These are probably the best looking too. But there's just something special to me about them. Later on, I'll do another video specifically on proof-like Libertads. So far, the proof-like Libertads are the ones known, and I think the ones attributed and recognized are from 1982, so the first year minted, through 1991, I want to say. I don't think there are any 2s, 3s, 4s, or 5s, and definitely not after that. but I think it's 19. So the older style, the gorditas, as they are called, affectionately, they are the thicker coins, the 38 millimeter in diameter instead of 40, I believe it, or 36, maybe it's 36. Anyway, the older style libertads, those are the ones that get the proof-like designation, and they can be relatively scarce, and especially some years. I believe 1990 and 1991 are the most common, if you can say common, of the proof-like libertads. But even then, it took me a while to get these, and I really, really enjoy them. It's not a variety; it's a it's a variety of finish, I guess. But they are just BU, brilliant uncirculated, whatever you want to call them, satin finish libertads, but with I believe they were most likely struck. Some of the first ones struck with new dyes, or the dye was just highly polished before these were struck. But the point is, you can find these occasionally in the wild, come up for sale or for auction, and they are beautiful. I just really, really enjoy them, and they're relatively scarce. And so for those reasons, it's the type of thing that flies under the radar, but that just really intrigues me. I find extremely interesting and enjoyable. And to find these in such beautiful condition, this one really does look, basically like a 1990. It looks like a worn, or not even that worn, but just somewhat slightly circulated or slightly mishandled proof libertad. But the truth is, it's not mishandled at all. It's in great condition. It's just, on the contrary, it's in spectacular condition, just with the fields extremely reflective and the devices frosted. And so it creates that contrast that looks very much like a proof coin, even though it is not a proof coin. So these are my choice. I'm kind of cheating here by sticking to, but it's basically the proof-like libertads. These are the ones I have at the moment, 1990 and 1991. Hopefully, with the passing of time, I'll be able to find other years, but it's pretty special, and that's why I have them here at the top of this top 10 libertad list. All right, well, as you may have noticed, I'm personally a lot more interested in the older style 80s libertads than the modern ones. Don't get me wrong, it's cool to have a BU 1998 libertad, but for the price point, I'd much rather get a lesser known variety that perhaps flies under the radar because most other collectors just aren't looking for it. To me, that's much more unique and special than focusing on something like the 1998 that everybody and their brother is after because it has the lowest mintage, when in reality the 1991 Type 2 probably has an even lower mintage. Anyway, what did you think of my list? Let me know in the comments below. I really appreciate you sticking with me throughout this series, as this is the final top 10 video for this year. I hope to be able to do this again next year, so if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon to be notified of future uploads. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like and share it with a numismatic friend. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.